What's there, everybody? It's cwilyt back here with another reaction video, and today I'm going to be reacting to a channel I haven't reacted to before, and this one, the video is called The Most Expensive Fails in History, so I'm looking forward to seeing what ones they have on the list. I've seen some videos sort of similar to this before, but it had to do with cars. So for me, I'm going to be learning, and for y'all, I hope y'all be learning from this as well, you know what I'm saying? I like to do videos every once in a while where it's sort of like educational, but also not sports, so I hope y'all are looking forward to this, so let's go ahead and not talk about me and about, you know, just jibber jabber like some of y'all say I do sometimes. Let's go ahead and get right into this.
Life, but to not even realize it until years later. To be involved in the early stages of a startup that would go on to become a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, but then walk away practically penniless before it had even gained momentum.
Sadness.
It would probably be similar to that feeling you get when you put off buying a plane ticket, then check the airline website a few weeks later to find the price has doubled. If you want to feel better about yourself for all the times you wasted or lost money, then keep watching.
I mean, I can relate. I've had a lot of stuff happen where just things came out of nowhere.
I bet you $10,000. Let's start off modestly. And by modest, I mean a mistake that cost less than $100 million. That's how expensive we're talking for the rest of this video. In 2014, a French train company ordered 2,000 new trains for its cross-country railways.
2,000?
The manufacturer proceeded to design, make, and ship out these trains, only for the French officials to have a horrible realization. The trains they'd ordered were too wide to actually fit on the rails. How could this have happened?
Wow.
Turns out those officials failed to measure all the stations. Some of the rails fit the train perfectly, but others were 50 years older and much thinner.
Jeez, that's a bad mistake.
That there were railways of different sizes. The good news is that they didn't need to throw away the trains. But the bad news is that the only way to solve the problem was to widen all the older, thinner rails.
That would take a while.
Size for the trains. There were over 1,000 stations to change, making the total cost $68 million.
Jeez, 68 million. Oh my goodness.
It cost to make the trains in the first place. But if you thought that was bad,
that's crazy. I mean, at the beginning, I was thinking it's going to be some things like every day, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe some vehicles, but also like buying something that didn't end up well, whatever. That first one definitely set the tone for the video, that's for sure. This is going to be about like the most expensive in history, it seems. I know people that are doing crypto and bid and all that. I haven't really got into that, to be honest with you.
One of them was the British IT worker James Howells. Can you see where I'm going with this? Howells mined a whopping 7,500 bitcoins back in 2013. Do you know how much a single bitcoin is worth now? Yeah. Unfortunately,
yeah. I mean, that was a long time ago. He had no clue.
So he broke his old laptop into parts so he could sell them individually. Although he had the foresight to keep the hard drives in case the bitcoins did gain value one day. Let's face it, keeping a hard drive worth millions lying around in your house is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
One day, the man was cleaning his house when he accidentally placed the hard drive in the trash can. The trash ended up in the landfill site, and James didn't even notice until years later.
Oh my goodness.
Eventually hit its peak.
That guy must. I can't imagine what that guy felt.
Except there was absolutely no way of accessing it.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Retrieve his bitcoins, turning up at the landfill and begging his local council to let him search for the hard drive himself, but it was no luck. The officials deemed searching through a landfill a safety risk due to the potential of toxic gases and fires. Alas, James was forced to soldier on, knowing he made one of the most expensive mistakes ever. Poor guy. You could say that investing in Bitcoin in the early days is just like winning the lottery, and losing the coins is like throwing away your winning ticket. But what about actually winning the lottery and losing it? Yep, that's happened too. Some more careless Brits bought a few lottery tickets, one of which went on to be the winner. Imagine the joy, the excitement, your mind racing as you thought about how you'd spend the money. But unfortunately, this pair made a fatal error. They'd also had a few losing tickets, so to avoid confusion, the husband tried to throw away the losing tickets, but you guessed it, he ended up throwing away the
oh my goodness, that's so sad. That's crazy, man. Imagine throwing someone away.
And it's not the only thing lost in space that's worth millions. In 1998, NASA launched a Mars climate.
Oh, I've heard about this.
In other words, a space probe that was sent to orbit Mars and study its atmosphere and surface. As the orbiter left the Earth, little did the engineers know that they made a fatal mistake when calibrating the units of measurement on the machine. The team had used English units of measurement instead of the metric system more commonly used for that type of operation.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy people don't realize everything has to be spot on, and you know,
as a result, the spacecraft
one thing off, one weight off, you know what I'm saying, for those spacecrafts, and it's over. You know what I'm saying?
units and red in another, and nobody realized until everyone was together to celebrate the entry of the ship into Mars' orbit. Instead, they watched everything go wrong. Due to the problems with unit conversions, the engine of the orbiter fired when it was 100 kilometers closer to Mars than planned, and 25 kilometers below the level it was designed to function at. The engine failed to fire once it got to Mars and just continued into the atmosphere, leaving a nice crater behind. The total damage was $193 million.
Whoa.
But it gets worse. Far worse. We've all pressed send on a text in a split second, only to realize...
Oh yeah, that's happened to me plenty of times, and we got an ad. It's crazy. I've had some pretty bad autocorrects before.
This is one of those occasions. You don't want to make a slip-up like this when you're trading stocks and shares. In 2005, a Japanese broker listed a new company called JCOM at just 610,000 shares for 1 yen each instead of issuing one.
I don't really know much about that type of thing right there, but...
To put that into context, 1 Japanese yen was the equivalent...
Okay, I'm glad they explained this, you know what I'm saying? It's education, they're teaching us some stuff here.
The number of shares in the order was 41 times more than the number of shares that were actually available, so the broker was left with an order it literally couldn't execute. Yet, even though it was completely nonsensical, they couldn't cancel it. In total, 225...
Oh my goodness, 225 million?
It was so
Oh
phenomenal.
my, that's crazy.
Index, the Japanese equivalent of the S&P, dropped by almost 2% that day. One broker embarrassed the whole of Japan. I can only imagine how he felt going to work the next day. Oh, what's that? You don't think anything could be $225 million of damage?
That's like as much as some contracts in, like, say for instance, I would say like the NBA sometimes in Major League Baseball, some of the contracts are around like 4 years for 225 million.
That the masses will flock to buy, only to find that in fact...
Hey, one about cars.
Let's go back to 1958.
Oh, 1958.
Cars named the Edsel, a large family car. Supposedly, they'd proven...
I know what type of car that is.
...series of customer surveys. But at the time, Ford had a bad reputation for basing their data collection on false assumptions, giving them results that would stroke their egos rather than grow their business. Nobody cared much about the release of the Ford Edsel. As if making a car nobody wanted wasn't bad enough, they ended up launching it in an environment where nobody could have afforded it, even if they did want it. Just as the model was released to the public, the stock market declined, spooking consumers and putting
bad timing.
Making any big purchasing decisions. It's estimated that the car manufacturer lost around $250 million due to their poor research and timing. Ouch. But now it's time to take things up a notch. Before Alaska was a
up a notch? I thought those were already up a notch.
In 1967, the nation decided that the territory was more of a resource drain.
I'm glad they're doing ones from even way back when, you know what I'm saying, 1800s too.
The U.S. and agreed to sell them Alaska for $7.2 million. Little did they know how profitable Alaska would turn out to be. Russia thought they'd already exhausted the gold reserves of the region, but there turned out to be vast amounts of rich gold and oil resources still there.
They got bamboozled.
So that the U.S. made a profit of $700 million from buying its 49th state.
Big W's.
Russia lost the same amount. Come on, Russia. I don't condone colonization, but if you're going to do it, then at least be smart about it. You might have thought that sounded like a big loss, but until now, we've been talking baby money. Now it's time to talk about those 9-figure numbers. The Northrop B-2 Spirit, also known as the stealth bomber, is the most expensive plane in the U.S. Air Force, worth a ridiculous $1.4 billion.
I've seen one of those. I think one of those flew over the first NASCAR race I attended in person in 2011. They look similar to those.
Right? But you'd be wrong. One day, a pilot was on a test flight in Guam when the plane began to stall during takeoff, crashing straight away. That's right, the plane was completely destroyed, all because there was moisture in the engines, and a technique to remove it properly got lost in translation, resulting in...
I mean, honestly, I don't get why some of these vehicles are, like, so expensive. I know they're, like, really, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're really high-tech and everything, but it's a little too much money.
Of course. You might think you can never be in the running to lose so much money as long as you stay away from machinery and business, but billions have also been lost at the hands of man's oldest enemy, lust. After Tiger Woods' infamous cheating scandal, the golfer is estimated to have lost $12 billion. And that might seem like a crazy amount considering he was never actually worth that much in the first place, but the estimate includes includes value lost by shareholders of his former sponsors as a result of the affairs, as well as the sports star's substantial personal loss. Would it have really been that hard to keep it in your pants, Tiger? Do you think
Oh my goodness, he just got roasted.
Everyone has heard of Steve Jobs, and if you're a real Apple enthusiast, you might have heard of Steve Jobs.
I like their animations too. Like, I didn't point that out earlier, but their animations are pretty fire. And wonder how many people they have like doing them and everything. How long it takes.
As an old hand with more experience and expertise, it was precisely because he was at a different stage of his life that Wayne wasn't prepared to take the financial risks involved in pursuing a project like Apple. Whereas Jobs and Wozniak were younger men, aged 21 and 23, with nothing to lose. Wayne had assets and became terrified of losing everything he had, so he decided to sell his shares back to the co-founders. Wayne once held 10% of the shares for Apple, and guess how much he sold them for? $800. If only he decided to wait until 2013, his share would have been worth $35 billion.
Whoa, that's a huge difference.
A massive loss. But now, think even bigger. You might have heard of the dot-com bubble, a huge speculative bubble that built up at the start of the millennium. Investors had begun to suspect that the internet and technology would be big, but they weren't quite sure what form that would take or which companies would make it. Basically, lots of people got overexcited and started making some pretty big gambles. Two companies pitted as future successes were Time Warner and AOL. The two media companies merged together in 2000 at the height of the bubble. It was believed to be a genius move that would revolutionize the industry. Hey, stop laughing. Time Warner's cable network and content would merge with the online presence of AOL, making them unbeatable together. At least that was the theory. It couldn't have been further.
That was the year I was born, 2000.
Workplace cultures of the two firms didn't exactly merge together smoothly.
I didn't know Time Warner had anything to do with AOL. I did not know that.
Burst, plunging the economy into a recession and harming the merger. AOL was hit hard and forced to take a write-off almost of $100 billion by 2002.
$100 billion?
From a whopping $226 billion.
That's crazy.
$20 billion. Ouch. By 2009, Time Warner left AOL with a valuation of $36 billion, leaving AOL with a value of just $2.5 billion.
Wow.
All in all, the whole thing resulted in a total loss of $146 billion.
That's definitely the highest.
If that doesn't make you feel better about every stupid way you've wasted money, then I don't know what will. Check out our videos about...
Well, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and comment down below your thoughts on this video. Maybe even share some of your autocorrect stories, which was mentioned at around the 1/3 mark of this video. And if you watched this all the way through, I really appreciate it, and I'm very thankful. Also, if you haven't yet, please hit the like and subscribe button, and turn on this notification so you know each and every time I upload. And until next time, I'm out. Peace!